Hello, everybody, from my side. Welcome to our session, which is about what's new in SAP Solution Manager for the implementation. This session is a re-recording of the session we have held at the ALM Summit in 2022. So I'm from the product management of the application lifecycle management. My name is Axel Schulze here. I will be presenting you the area of process management and the test suite. And I have my colleague Frank Jungmann with me, which will be taking care of the change request management. So as always, we have here a kind of legal disclaimer because we will also show you something which is not released yet for the SP16 features. So there's always the option that it might be changed. However, we would like to give you also here a preview of what is coming up. So let's look into the agenda for this session. As we have developed most of the features as an outcome of the Customer Connect program, I like to give you a quick introduction. What is the Customer Connect program about? What is the timeline, or what was the timeline of this project? And yeah, how you can find this information, and what is really the results we get, not only from feature point of view, also from the number of requests we get, how many we have accepted, what we have to reject. So all this information, I like to give you a really quick introduction here again, that you really understand where the requirements, the input coming from for the features we delivered for SP15 and SP60, because it was coming from you, from the customer, from the partners. They requested it, other partners voted for it, and then we developed this. And these developments we like to introduce to you as part of the support package 15 and the support package 16. We like to introduce you quickly all the features you can expect here. Then finally, you will get an overview where you can find this information. So let's get into the topic. Let's have a quick recap of the project timeline and the approach of the SAP Customer Connect. SAP Customer Connection is a general program where customer can send improvement requests for basically every SAP product. So we participating here with the SAP Solution Manger 7.2, and we said we are interested in the improvement requests by the customer and partners for the change management, for the test management, and for the process management. So basically the implementation area. And what you have to consider here is that we also always have to define a scope and something which is not in scope. Yeah, these topics are quite huge, and I think we will add up in a lot of improvement requests when we don't, if we don't set a scope here where we allow customers to send their improvement request, for example, for performance or for reporting. Yeah, so we have defined scopes here. I didn't want to go too much into details here, just that you understand later why we have to also put improvement requests out of consideration, because there was not a scope of this Customer Connect program. Okay, how was the Customer Connect program from the timeline running? So we start the project back in September 2021, and then there's always a collection phase where all the partners and customers, no, only customers, actually partners were not allowed to participate, but customers represents also partners, and we collect all the improvement requests. So, and then we have a kind of voting mechanism that other customers can vote for the improvement request. We have defined a threshold of 15 votes. We have to be available for an improvement request that we selected. Yeah? So we had then a select phase where we take all the improvement requests, and then we discuss them. Sometimes we have to get back to the customer to even better understand it. And also maybe we have already something available. A lot of improvement requests often are available, but then we have to improve our knowledge transfer for this or rollout from the from SAP to the customer. Yeah. But anyways, we have still some improvement requests where we need to put some development efforts in place. Yeah. And this is then what we did for the SP15 and SP16 release of SAP Solution Manager. And we have started, releasing this improvement request with SP15. I will show you this. So this is already available right now. This is the current support package. And with the soon coming SP16 support package, you can expect even more improvement requests here. So let's look now into more detailed how many requests we get, how many we could accept. And this is what I like to introduce you next. So for the process management, we got 70 improvement requests overall. We have to put 30 of them out of scope or out of consideration because they don't reach the 15 votes. This means 30 improvement requests didn't get the attention of other customers, or other customers don't think it makes sense for them. So really, we have here a ranking that an improvement request needs the minimum of 15 votes by other customers. Yeah? And you see here 2 improvement requests. There was totally not part of what we expect. So there was not in the scope. Yeah? There was very outside what we expect customers send us as an improvement request. So we ended up with 38 improvement requests, means which 15 or more votes. So then, anyways, we take the effort and look again into the rejected improvement request and say, okay, maybe it makes sense to combine them. And maybe we have other votes which have 15 or more, and they serving the same purpose. Yeah? So we can serve also the rejected improvement request with some functionality which is probably already available, but just a lack of knowledge here. So we included 12 of these improvement requests back into the scope, because then we also work on the knowledge transfer here for this improvement request. Yeah? And so we end up finally with 50 improvement requests, which we have to consider for probably it's already available with SP14, or we have to develop it in SP15 and SP16. Okay, this is about the process management, and for the test management, we got much more improvement requests. At the end, 109. So there was a huge interest here on improvement in the area of the test suite. Yeah? However, again, here also 57 improvement requests have to be rejected because they don't reach the 15 votes. Yeah? You always see here also in the brackets the part of the focus build request here. So we combined not only Solution Manager, also the focus build was part here of this improvement request. So here the colleagues end up with 47 improvement requests, which have 15 or more votes. And you see here 35 of them from the focus build. You see there is a much higher interest in the test management on the focus build application to have improvements rather than on the standard side. I think it's an interesting picture. However, again, the test suite colleagues take the efforts and look into the rejected improvement request and say, okay, here we take them also into consideration. We provide some knowledge material here because this is probably already available. And then we ended up with 61 improvement requests, which is a quite high number. And then let's look into the change request management. Here, they even more get even get more requests. So at the end, 134 improvement requests. Yeah, 70 of them again don't reach the 75% threshold. So they ended up with 59 improvement requests and again taken 11 from the rejected one into consideration. So 70 improvement requests were already available, were implemented with SP15 or SP16, and 15 of them we couldn't apply because they are violating design rules and they are just not fitting into our tool. Okay. Then let's have a quick overall view. Yeah, you see the fulfillment rate for all the three areas. Yeah, it's at least about 70%, which is I think very great number. It's a very great fulfillment rate. Yeah, and you see also that's the same from the Solution Manager standard capabilities and focus build. So we have here the same fulfillment rate for both applications at the end. Okay, let's get now into the details. What was really delivered with SP15 first, then we will look later into SP16, which will come soon. Yeah. Due to the matter of time, we cannot go into very details here. We will have bullet points for you with the available features. You will find these features in the help document. We have even more detailed information with the dedicated rollout sessions. Yeah, so there you find more information. But as I said, due to the matter of time, we can't go into much details here. So if you look for more information, you can find later the detailed links where you can have a deep dive here. Just let me check the time here. Okay, so first of all, we have a feature which is called the enhanced where used list. So customer request, the current where used list we have in the process management, it's too simple. So we need a more comprehensive way. So we allow customers now to switch from a simple view to an enhanced view on where an element like a document, like a transaction, a Fiori application is used in my business process documentation. So then also we allow customers to save their layouts depending where they are in the documentation. If a customer is more on the library documentation working, he can have a more library or technical view. If the customer or other user is working more on the business process documentation, he can have maybe more a document-specific view. So this means we can now save different views, and based on the user, let's say, behavior, the views are automatically switched into the desired view. Another great feature we introduced is that we can generate, let's say, a document out of a diagram. So we often get a request that the customers want to have history options for diagrams. Customer wants to have restore options for diagrams. Customer want to have options like sharing a diagram. So all features we allow in Solution Manager with documents, but not really with diagrams. So therefore we allow, if you save a diagram, you can save it simply as a document. So it's rather a BPMN file or a PNG file. And with this, you can have the full document management capabilities like sharing a document, versioning of a document, restoring a document, you can have in place. Another feature we have delivered is the multi-selection of elements when you're documenting a business process or a step. Until SP15, it was not possible to select multiple documents or a document, a test case, and a transaction. So what you can now do is, if you are going into a business process and want to document this business process with several steps, you can search for all the steps in the library and you can select all of them, and you have a multi-selection here available, and then you can assign this process step in one shot to your business process. Another feature is that you can run, if you, for example, test, or if you want to navigate from solution documentation into a classic transaction, you can define now if you want to run this transaction in the SAP GUI for HTML, or also the so-called web GUI. So there is a user setting. User can decide if you want to launch this transaction in the SAP GUI or in the web GUI. And then we have also some further minor improvements, which you can check out in our detailed rollout documentation. So this was about the SP15. Now let's look into the SP16 deliverables, which you can expect soon as part of the SP16. SP16 is not released yet, but will be available soon. So first, we can have now also document translations based on the machine learning translation services. Yeah, so this is an offering by SAP that you can translate documents, yeah, and we have this integrated into the solution documentation. We had this already. You can translate your business process hierarchy already into several languages, and we have enhanced this now to the document translation. So it means you can send a document to the BP, the document is translated, and you get back the translated version. And now here we have another improvement in the work of the solution documentation. So you can now move several elements, different elements from one node to another node. So imagine you have a business process where you have all your specifications, where you have your test cases, where you have maybe also your configuration. Yeah, you can select all of them and you can move them from one place into another. Very simple. Also, we have improved the document and the test step assignment here. Yeah? For example, if a test step or a document is so-called marked for deletion, you still can find it and assign it to another place. What we also worked on is an automatic transfer of the process step names from the library, from the original, to all its references. Yeah? So this was also an often request to keep the library for the business process steps somehow in sync with all their references. And if you don't know, with SP14, we have worked heavily on the Fiori app library generation. So meaning we can analyze your managed system and get all the Fioris set up in the executable library. And then we have introduced also a new attribute, which is called Fiori ID. And this is then, filled here, that you can fill the attribute for the Fiori ID based on your library generation. And another feature referring or related to the BPCA, the test suite, you can also now create semi-dynamic T-bombs for Fiori executables with SP16. Okay, that's about the process management, and now we are going into the test suite. First, we're starting here with the SP15 data information. I have made this bullet points here a bit more specific, to understand what is really behind this. So first, in the test package maintenance, you can now see the team members down to the business partners. Yeah? This is a new feature we have introduced here. During the during test execution in the tester work list, we have now a kind of quick edit option to set the status very quick and efficiency via a pop-up. When you like to make a mass copy of your test plan, it's now possible that you recreating or retrieving missing test cases from the copy test packages and the sequences. This could be happen sometime if you copy a test plan or a test package that there are some test cases are missing. So with this option, you can retrieve them from the solution documentation and get the missing test cases. In the test plan management, also now we provide an option to simplify the assignment of new test packages, including the test cases. So this was before a separated task in the test package assignment, but this is now simplified in the test plan management. And also in the test sequence, it's now allowed to have a parallel execution for a group of test cases. In the analytics area, there is a new report provided to improve the test plan preparation here to see really where the completeness progress is or where we have also some gaps in the test plan preparation. So this was the SP15 features. Now we look into the SP16 features. You see here only 2 of them were part of the Customer Connect. All the others one are shipped as features as part of the standard improvements here we probably get from messages or simply customer feedback. So first, the test plan copy allows you now to even more change the solution manager context from the solution documentation point of view. So here you have more flexibility for handling the branches, the scope, and the system role probably. Then again, also during the test plan copy, it's now possible to propagate the responsible person or the change of the responsible person through the whole process from the test plan to the test package to the test sequences. In the tester work list during the test case execution, we show now the test case description from solution documentation. In the analytics area, we also have a new report available, which is again about the test plan preparation completeness. So it shows the tester's assignment. The status here is a user logged, or is it released or partially logged. Another improvement we have here in the test reporting overall is that you can get previous reports. They are stored now, and you can retrieve and open reports from the past. In the third-party integration, it is now allowed also to start the execution of the test packages if the third-party tool is supporting this. And we have also improved or included the dual signature for the test suite, meaning you can sign test plans, test packages, test notes, test results. So this is a feature which is available in the solution documentation quite a while. And now you can also have the dual signature based on the statuses for the test suite. Okay, so this was about the test suite improvement request as part of the SP16 delivery. And with this, we go over now to the change control management, starting here with SP15. And with this, I would hand over to my colleague, Frank Jungmann.
Thank you, Axel. So then let's have a look into the SP15 features in the area of change control management. Starting with a new logging of the CTS status switch. So you all know that status switches is very important in the area of change request management, as this completely ensures that on the managed system, nobody is allowed to, for example, create transport requests, release transport requests, or perform any transportation into follow-up systems if not explicitly allowed by those switches. So those switches are controlled by Solution Manager, and usually we do not open them. Nevertheless, of course, there's authorization which allows you to open this. And we are now logging if somebody opens specific switches, and we will log name and time and date at the point of time when somebody changes this kind of switch, and you can easily have a look at that logging from the admin cockpit. So next to where you can change the switches, we have now a button to look at the loggings. Second point that we have, or second improvement, would be the consistent cleanup for imported transport requests, which means that since quite a while, it was with Solution Manger 7.2 SP5, we introduced that the import from STMS is no longer happening via the import project all, but is happening on a different strategy, which means the transport request was only marked as completed in the productive system and was never more or less like deleted from the import queue in the productive environment. And that led to many customer requests telling us that they do not want to have a report running to clean up that queue, but that they want to have an automatic cleanup like it was before. And well, now we have shipped that with a customer connection so that the usual import feedback function as well cleans up the import queue. Same applies for the housekeeping in the next point, which is the import logs collection, which is cleaned up. So here we as well, via the import feedback mechanism, clean up the logs. So you can, for yourself, set up the retention of data that you want to keep. So, for example, after 3 months of logging, those logs will be deleted. Of course, we will not delete the overall import log, as this is important for specific audit programs. Some even want to have that data kept for 10 years. Nevertheless, we will, or you can customize how long specific data on each and every step should be kept, and this can be cleaned up so that you don't collect a lot of logs that you will never use again. Then we have the enablement of multi-transport selection for declare import errors as repaired. So when you face an RC8 or higher when performing an import in change request management, of course, the transport request which caused the issue somehow is broken and can no longer be imported via the change request management. So as a resolution, of course, you can create a new transport request that should not run into this RC8 because you're putting specific objects which were, for example, missing for that RC8 into the same transport request. And then you needed to put a specific flag on the transport request which was broken. And this is happening via this declare import errors as repaired functionality, where you were able to flag those transport requests. And now the improvement is that you can not only flag one transport request at a time and call this this function to declare if it's caused by several transport requests, one after each other, but you only call it once, and you can select multiple transport requests and declare them as repaired. This is, of course, especially important if you're not only importing via one change document, but if you are importing via a whole release or via a change cycle where several transport requests have an issue, and then you can just set all of them to repaired as soon as you have really repaired them and perform the re-import. Next one would be the flexibility in the area of check correlation between partner function and PFCG. So here we have improved the flexibility. So the functionality behind it will be that on change documents as well as on requests for changes, it is possible to do a specific customization where you ensure that the partner function that you want to where you want to put a business partner, the F4 help will only show business partners that really have the specific authorization role which is behind. So, for example, if you want to set in a business partner for a developer, the search help should only show you business partners that as well where the user have the authorization role of a developer. So this is the functionality, and this one was improved by putting more flexibility, as now you can as well link partner functions to several PFCG roles. So for example, with this developer that we just said, of course, some customers do not only have a developer role, but they might as well have a role for a consultant or a role for a for someone who only does customization. And let's say you want to, of course, as well now bundle these 3 different roles, and you want to show up in the business partner function developer as well, users that have the role for a customizer or for a consultant on top of the developer. So that's the functionality. So now you can link in the customizing several PFCG roles to a partner function. Next one is about the creation of transport of copies. So we have the possibility to only create transport of copies for the subtask, which was really changed. So as an example, you have a normal change, and you would have several transport requests from, let's say, a CRM system, an S4 system, and to that change. And in the status to be tested, it would be set back to in development. And now you're only changing the S4 transport request by putting an additional task, and you're setting it back to be tested. And well, up to now, the change request management would have created 2 new transport of copies, one for the S4 and another one for the CRM. But we can now have a new parameter, and if that parameter is activated, we will ensure that only the changed transport request will only really be copied, and the functionality which was not changed, or the transport request which was not changed, just is kept as it was, and no new transport of copy will be created. And this, of course, minimizes the number of transport of copies which is waiting in the buffer, as well as, of course, should be imported. Then we have a new logging for critical objects and for allow list objects. So whenever a critical object is part of your change process, or an allow list object is part of your change process, and it goes back to the change manager for authorization, then this will be logged. So the requesting a critical object, we will put down a text log that it was requested, and then if it is declined or if it is allowed, will be as well logged in the text log. And we will log this, of course, again using the user ID, the date, and the time. Then we have an improvement on the body, which is this specific body AIC only dev iBase system. So this body so far was used to ensure that on a change document, you could only create transport requests for the system that is as well put into the IBase of that change document. So you know that if you use a change control landscape, overall release, or change control landscape for a change cycle, you can create transport requests for each and every development system which has a track on the overall task list. And to minimize that, especially for customers, of course, that have a really, really huge landscape, we have introduced that body so that only specific to the IBase that you put into the change document, the transport requests can be created. And the improvement, which comes with SP15 now, is that we have enhanced that not only about the creation of transport requests, but as well about the assignment of transport requests. And if you look into the landscape assignment block, it will only show that track which is relevant because of the IBase, and it will not show the complete system landscape, which is part of the overall release. So the filter is really now completely focused on the IBase and is not only for creation of transports, but enhanced. Then we have something in the area of the release planning, where we now only display open release cycles, which means if you go into the release planning tool, it was showing all release cycles in all statuses, as well inactive cycles, which of course means that you would also see all those release cycles which are closed or which are retired. And as this, of course, can disturb the overall view, especially, of course, if you have a lot of release cycles, we can filter down and make sure that only open release cycles are displayed. Then we have optimized the search for the scheduled import jobs in the admin cockpit. So now you can as well here have additional search functionalities. On top, for example, you can search for QGM import jobs, and you can filter. You have more filter options to search for those scheduled import jobs. Then we have another thing about the transport of copies, which is now direct import transport of copies. So this makes sure that depending on your customization, copy all or copy all enhance, which controls if you switch from in development to be tested, you know that a transport of copy will be created, and in case of copy all enhance, it will not only be created and put into the buffer, but as well imported. And so far, this customization influenced the behavior of the status transition in a change document. Now we have enhanced that as well to the button transport of copy. So in the transport assignment block, there's of course a button transport of copy, and that button created a transport of copy and put it into the buffer, no matter how the customization in the change request management framework was. And we have now synced this. So if you have put copy all enhance and you press the button transport of copy, we will as well perform the import, not only for status transition, but as well if you use that transport assignment block and press the button. And of course, vice versa as well. If you have put the customization only to copy all, then we will, when pressing the button only, create a transport of copy and put it into the buffer. And same applies to the status transition in to be tested. Then we will only create a transport request and put it into the buffer and do not perform the copy. So it's more in sync now. Finally, we have an improvement which was not part of the customer connection. So the upper ones were all part of the customer connection program and were requested from you. The last one was created outside of that customer connection program, and that is the retrofit configuration check. So here we have now a little report that can completely check about your retrofit configuration. So it's really a nice thing if you are setting up retrofit, and like this you can easily find out if you have not missed a step and if your retrofit is really ready to run. So for example, it checks for all those retrofit parameters. It will check if the transport landscape is set up correctly. It will look into RFC connections. It will look into the authorization. So there's a specific background user called, and if that background user has enough authorization to perform retrofit, and well, more or less everything which is relevant for the correct setup of retrofit will be checked. And this is really very helpful to use that if you want to set up retrofit. So that was the support pack 15 improvement that we already shipped. And then let's have a look into SP16. So the Delta features that we are want to ship with support pack 16. And in the area of change control management, here we have the SAP Cloud TMS integration, which is already shipped with SP12. But now we have improved that now as well navigation is possible. So you know that if you are on the transport assignment block of the landscape assignment block of a change document, and you use that little sign to log on, you would be directly navigated to the managed system. And in case of Cloud TMS transports, those buttons were inactivated. With SP16, we will activate those buttons now again, and you will be directly navigated into the Cloud TMS feature, where you can then have a look at the transport status and at the transport landscape and at the buffer and all of that. So I think it's a very good improvement, as now you can seamlessly just navigate from change request management directly into the Cloud TMS and no longer need to separately log on. Another feature would be the automatic save. So this is a feature which was as well requested many times, and we were declining it so far for all other support packages. And now finally we have it, which is to get rid of this saving when performing an action. So in change request management, all of you know when you're using it, and you're setting an action to set a status, there will be a pop-up telling you that this action will only be performed as soon as you press the save button. You need to press the save button, and then the action will be triggered, and it will go through the framework and will perform its work. And with a specific parameter that you can now set with SP16, you can get rid of this mechanism and have automatic save, which means as soon as you trigger the action, the PPF action would start automatically without pressing the save button. So I think this is something that many of you really wish to have, and with SP16, now we ship it. Finally, we have improved as well in the area of the test management integration. So we introduced that as well as part of the customer connection program, where we have a tighter integration, so that, for example, based on structures, documentation structures that was linked to a change document, or if you have performed a BPCA analysis on the change document, you could create test plans. And we have now, with SP16, enhanced that to test plan and test package creation. So a test plan, of course, is not enough to really perform tests, because you always need a test package, which is then assigned to a user. So this work is now as well automated. And with SP16, we will not only create a test plan, but we will as well create a test package and assign the user who is part of the change document assigned as tester to that test package, so that testing more or less can directly start. So that's the features from SP16 as an outlook. And with that, back to Axel.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Then let's continue the presentation. So yeah, what you can do next, where you can find more information. We have a so-called improvement finder. So based on the Customer Connect, you can find all this improvement request again in detail with the description and also with the proposed solution, when you can expect this and which support package, maybe it's a note. You can find this. However, we have also from Solution Manager side some what's new presentation for the SP14 and for the SP15. So a lot of Customer Connect were flown into SP14 and SP15. So you can check out this presentation with more details about the dedicated features. And there is already a scheduled session for SP16 for the what's new. So also watch out for this during our communication channels, support.sap.com, ALM. And then it's up to you, implement these changes and start using it, and share your experience with this, and tell other customers, colleagues about this. And yeah, so that's our what's next here for this area. We can finish this session. Thank you very much for your attention and the interest also on this topic. And then I wish you a nice rest of the day and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.